Hey guys, it's Haley. I wanted to do a video about why I chose to have surgery in Mexico and why I went with what company. So basically I went to a clinic here when I was still thinking about having surgery. I was like, well, what's the, I don't have health insurance. I was like, so what's the next step? And it was like, my aunt who has had surgery was like, go to a seminar and get research from a doctor, from a nurse, whatever. So the clinic here in town that does weight loss surgeries offer like a monthly or bi-monthly seminar. And me and my aunt went to one. They just take your BMI and everything and your body percent of fat or something, I don't know. And they weigh you and all that, and then they do like an hour or two seminar about what each thing, it's not about one surgery, it's about every surgery they offer. So they still offer the lap band, I think, and the bypass. So they tell you about all of them, the differences between them. You can ask questions, and at the end they tell you the price. And for where I live, it was $14,000, and that didn't include any pre-op or post-op. So there's several pre-op appointments. There's EKGs, blood work, and stuff that are required that's not included. So it was going to be $15,000 plus. And that was in April. It's November. So at the time, I was just turned 21, so I didn't have any credit. So I started trying to get a quote for financing, and nobody would finance me. They wouldn't. It was just a flat out no. And I completely get it. I have no reason for you to think that I would, with no credit, why would you think that I could do that, So I started, I was like super bummed, and I was like, well, I guess I'll just build my credit for a month or two and then do it. And anybody that's ever done credit knows that going from no credit to great credit is not a 2-month thing. It's like a year thing. So I went to the bank and got a credit boost loan. If you want more information, I can tell you about that. But I'm still paying on it. It's just like a little small monthly payment to boost credit. It's not like a real loan. So in the meantime, I realized that my credit, it was not going to happen. And I was like, oh, I want to have this done this year. And for whatever reason, I thought that I could pay $15,000 by this time, because I wanted to have it done around this time. Not sure where I got that. I make really good money, but I mean, I don't know. My math is always so off. So, my mom actually, at some point, I think in like April, or maybe it was June, I had gotten the loan by then. Anyway, she said, well, Jan and Sam, which is my aunt and uncle, have all this family that had it done in Mexico. And I wrote back to my mom, she texted me that. I wrote back, are you crazy? Like, what's your point, And I was just like, that's okay for them. I'm not doing that, what? And my mom, she's not exactly like, she's not reserved or like conservative or anything like that, but she is cautious, I guess you could say. And that's the last thing I thought would come out of my mother's mouth. So I was like, I don't know, maybe a week later, I texted my aunt and I was like, ask your family, because it was like 5 different people that went to like 2 or 3 different places. I was like, ask them where they went and let me just research it. I want her to research it, right? And I looked into it, and each one had gone to, I think it was 6 people total, and 2 had gone to each clinic. And I also started researching at the same time people that had gone to those clinics online. People that wrote in their Instagram bios about their surgery that they went to Mexico. I'd message them and say, what clinic did you use? Tell me all about it. Tell me everything you can. And I narrowed it down to about 2 clinics, and this was still like, if I went to Mexico, which clinic would I use? I wasn't admitting to myself that I would even consider the idea. So I narrowed it down to 2, and I told my aunt, I said, I want you to make a list of questions, and I want you, when you have time, to call both of the clinics and see what you think. Because I was kind of leaning towards one company, just because I got just warm and fuzzies about it. All the responses, that just sounded like it was more of like a, I don't even know how to explain it, just a very like caring company. So she called and took her notes, and she said, I want you to come over when you get off work, and I'll tell you what I think. And I was like, I guess you could text me this. I'm not really sure what the loaded evening together is about. So I was like, okay. So I go over, and she's like, let me tell you what the questions were. And they were stuff that I would have asked myself. They were like, how many surgeries do you do a day, per month? How long has each surgeon been there, blah, blah, blah. And it was 2 companies. And one company, she said, to keep it simple, it was a sales speech. And the other company, they were asking her questions, generally wanting to give her information, and their answers were better on top of that. To the one company's like 30 surgeries a day, they were doing 200. That was all they did all day long. So to me, it was just like, and their complication rate is this, and they do that many surgeries, like, they're doing something right. You know, practice makes perfect. So 200 surgeries a month for 13 years, I was like, So I started thinking about it, and I finally admitted I was going to go to Mexico, and I decided on a lighter me. And at some point, from there, I went and contacted them via their website, and I got a coordinator, and somehow I found their Facebook page, and that honestly, like, tied the boat for me, because there's 14,000 members, and they all can post their stories and everything, and it's just like real people. And long story short, this is like 6 months later, we have a South Mississippi Lighter group. We do meetups. We have one in a week, and it's like real people. It's not like going to Mexico and getting your organs harvested. So a lot of my videos from here on out are going to be about that journey, and I'm going to video everything in Mexico and try to take away the stigma of Mexico as much as I can, with information, because I think people are just misinformed, just like I was, that it's just this like, Mexico, you know. And you really have to think about the price of healthcare in America. It's not that that's the standard, it's that they're screwing us, you know. So it's not that everything in Mexico, that it's like, you know, you're in somebody's house getting your organs like messed with. It's not, you know, it's not that. And so basically I chose Lighter Me, and so far I've been just overjoyed with the idea of it. I've got my plane tickets, my passport, my surgery date, and I leave in about 5 weeks, and I'm totally excited, and I feel so confident in my decision. Right now, if somebody walked in this room and handed me $15,000, I would put 10 of it in the savings account, and I would use the other 5 to pay for my mom's surgery while we were there. So I think that speaks for itself. So that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, whatever, hit me up. My next video will be pretty soon. Bye.